You signed the trust 2 years ago and paid $3,500 for it, and that trust says that your house is going to avoid probate. But if the deed of your house is still in your personal name, that house will go through the probate court process when you pass away, even if you have that revocable trust. The trust will not work to make your house avoid probate if you do not put the house inside the trust. So this video is for anyone who is thinking about putting their house inside of a trust to avoid probate, or they have set up their trust to avoid probate and they are unsure if the house is inside of it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to put your house inside of a revocable trust, step by step, and also an extra step that will maintain your homestead exemption for your house that is inside of that revocable trust that most people mess up. So the trust only controls what is inside of that trust. The deed to your property is a separate thing altogether and is typically held by you as an individual, is not automatically owned by the trust. So what you'll have to do is have an attorney update the deed to your property to retitle it out of your name into the name of the revocable trust so that the trust actually owns that property, therefore allowing it to avoid the probate courts when you pass away. If you do not retitle the property to be owned by the trust, it's held in your personal name, and any assets held in your name when you pass away will have to go through the probate courts to be distributed out to your family. Meaning your house, if it's not inside that trust, will have to go through the probate courts. And if you're thinking probate's not going to be that bad if I happen to mess this up, the cost of probate for a $400,000 house will cost your family anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 if everything is going smoothly with no complications, and it can last up to 12 to 18 months if they're paying for probate attorney fees and court fees for the probate process. While the house is in the probate process, your family has no ownership or control over that property. They cannot refinance that property. They cannot sell that property. They cannot rent that property out. They actually have no authority over that property because they do not own that property. Your estate owns that property, and they do not have any ownership or control until the judge of the probate courts allows your family to make distributions of the ownership of that property to your family. Basically meaning that your house will be frozen as it's going through the probate court process. Now, the revocable trust is set up to avoid all of this. When the house is owned by that revocable trust, it will avoid the probate courts when you pass away because the house is no longer in your personal name, therefore is not a part of your estate and does not have to go through the probate courts. So once you have your revocable trust set up, obviously the next step is to put the property inside of that trust. How you are going to do that is to use either a quitclaim deed or a warranty deed. What you'll do is you'll grab that document, you'll grab a legal description of that property from the county records, you will put your personal name on there, you'll put the name of the trust, you'll put the legal description of the property, you'll print all of that off, and you'll sign it per your local state laws. Sometimes they require a notary and witnesses for these legal documents. Then you will file that document with the county clerk's office. What they will do is process that document, and then they will transfer ownership out of your name into that revocable trust. Many people use either an estate planning attorney or a real estate attorney or a title company to make this document, because if you mess this up in any way, you will mess up the title of that property, meaning it will be clouded. And when you go and sell that property down the road, it will create title issues that the title company or the closing attorney will have to fix, which will prolong or mess up the sale of that property down the road. So it's very important that you do this step correctly so that nothing gets messed up when you go and try to sell the property later on, and you actually make sure that the trust actually owns that property, you did not mess it up, and the property is no longer in your personal name. If you want help setting any of this up, whether it's the revocable trust or transferring your property into that revocable trust to make sure it's correct, you can click the link down below and reserve a time to talk to someone on our team. Now, the fourth step is going to be notifying your homeowner's insurance company. The homeowner's insurance company has the right to not pay out any claims on a property that is inside of a trust if you have not updated your insurance policy. The reason being is that the insurance agreement that you have with the company is that you will maintain ownership over that property. When you transfer the property into that revocable trust, you no longer own that property as an individual. Therefore, you have breached the agreement that you have with that insurance company, giving them the right to not pay out any claims on the property inside of that revocable trust. So what you'll do here is add the revocable trust as the additional insured on your insurance policy. You will still be the named insured on that policy, and you will still be in control of paying the premiums, filing the claims, etc. And then the trust is just added. That way you have full coverage and you're not at risk of them not paying out any of those claims. The next step is going to be notifying your lender. And so the person that holds your mortgage company, what you have to do is just notify them. Many people wonder what's going to happen to the mortgage when you put the house inside the trust. They have two main fears. One, the terms of the loan is going to change. And then two, that the bank will call the remaining balance of your loan due. And so in terms of the loan, they are not going to change the loan on that property. You will maintain the same payment, the payoff timeline, the interest rate, etc. For the due on sale clause, when you put your house inside of a revocable trust, the Garn-St. Germain Act will give you protections from this. The lender cannot call the remaining balance of your loan due when you put the house inside of that revocable trust and you're still using it as your primary residence. Now let's talk about your homestead exemptions. When you put your house inside of a revocable trust, you're typically going to lose the homestead exemptions, but you can reapply for it and maintain that homestead exemption. The reason that you would lose it is that when you transfer ownership out of your name into the name of the revocable trust, the county is going to assume that you sold that property to the trust. And so what they're going to do is take off that homestead exemption. But you can reapply for the homestead exemption using a trust affidavit. That will show them that you are still the trustee and in control. You're still the beneficiary and have the full benefits. You have the right to live in that property per the trust document, and you're still using it as your primary residence. That will allow you to reapply and maintain the homestead exemption when you put your house inside of that revocable trust. Now, there is a deadline for this. You have to make sure that you file your reapplication for the homestead exemption by April 1st, or else you will lose that homestead exemption for that year. And you will also lose the floating assessment cap, which is just a cap on the percentage increase that the county can give you for the property taxes, which is going to be very important when you have high inflationary periods like we have seen in recent times, where the values of the homes go up pretty significantly and they reassess the property values, increasing your property taxes. Now, your attorney should give you instructions and all the documentation to maintain your homestead exemption for the reapplication. Obviously, you'll have to go and make that application yourself, but they should be able to give you the documentation and the guidance to be able to maintain that homestead exemption. Now, when your family tries to go and sell that property later on, the trustee of that trust at any given time, whether it's you, your spouse, or the successor trustee after you pass away, what they will have to do is when they go and sell that property, they will list it as the trustee of that trust because the trust owns it, and then the trustee is the person that has the authority to sell that property that's inside that trust. So what they'll do is they'll sign the agreement with the realtor as the trustee. They will sign the purchase agreement as the trustee. They will sign the closing documents as the trustee, and that will allow them to go through the process of selling that property just like you normally would as an individual. But instead of signing your name as John Smith, you're signing as John Smith, trustee of XYZ Revocable Trust. Now, when you are going and selling this property, obviously all the other parties want to make sure that you actually have the authority to sell this property. So they will typically ask for a trust certification, which will show them that the trust actually exists, that you actually have the authority to sell that property, and then what authorities you have related to the assets inside of that trust, just to give them confirmation that you actually have the ability to sell that house. If you want help protecting your assets and your family with a revocable trust, we have two options for you. Either we have a webinar that we do every single week. You can click the link down below and reserve your spot now. Or if you want our team to set up a revocable trust to make your house avoid the probate courts, you can click that same link down below and reserve a time to talk to some of our team.